Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Are you a criminal? Are you thinking of becoming a criminal? Is a career in crime something that attracts you for various reasons? If so, please move to Scotland, because Scotland is the place to be for the criminal life. It is a utopia where police budgets are frozen, police numbers are falling, and where nobody seems to ever get caught. You can more or less do whatever you like, secure in the knowledge that your collar won't be felt and you won't ever be eating porridge. At least that seems to be the message the SNP are giving out. They have announced that they are freezing police budgets for 4 more years to 2027. With rising crime rates and with expenses increasing, this is not going to increase the number of police on the streets, and therefore people will be less secure on the streets, less secure in their homes. Property will become ever more somebody else's property quite easily. Why are the SNP doing this? Why are they deliberately reducing law and order and deliberately making the choice to make life easy for criminals? Do they want Scotland to become a crime-ridden, failed state? It seems to be the only reason for doing what they're choosing to do. We'll take a look at this article and see why, if you live in Scotland, you better start learning a bit of self-defence. Here goes. So, SNP cuts making streets more dangerous as police numbers plunge to the second lowest level ever. So you're getting ever increasingly fewer policemen at a time with rising crime, and police budgets are frozen for 4 more years. What message does that send out? Firstly, what message does it send out to the good, honest, law-abiding citizens of Scotland? Are they being made fools of? And what message does it send out to the criminally minded? Fill your boots, lads. We're not going to bother. Seriously, it's bad, isn't it? The Scottish Government chose to freeze Police Scotland's budget until 2027, meaning that the force is forced to make swinging cuts due to a £10 million black hole. The SNP cuts will make Scotland's streets more dangerous, claimed critics, after it was revealed that the police officer numbers had plunged to the second lowest level on record. The police have called on the Scottish Government to supply extra funding to cover the £10 million black hole in its budget. But of course they're not going to give them another penny, they haven't got it. However, it is expected that the 23-24 budget would see the overall workforce be cut by 3.7%, leaving a lack of bobbies on the beat. Yes, it will, but I mean, how's the last time you saw one on the beat? It's not Dixon of Dock Green, bobbies on the beat. No, they're all fat, lazy bastards pissing around in cars trying to look important, and that's when they're not actually committing the crimes they're supposed to be investigating. Latest figures have shown that there are 16,600 cops in the country as of the 30th of June 2023. That's the second lowest on record after the 16,570 recorded in the quarter 3 of 2022, and a fall on the previous quarter where 6,615 officers were counted. It means that the SNP have once again gone back on a manifesto pledge, this time to recruit 1,000 extra cops. They can't do that. They can't afford it because they're spending all their money on spin doctors, on manifesto commitments, on independence brochures, nice pretty independence brochures. They've got 20 odd staff working towards independence. Well, imagine those 20 odd staff were policemen. That would help. But it's not going to, is it? Yeah, they did achieve this in 2011, when the numbers reached 17,263. But this has now fallen massively by almost 800 in 12 years. At a time when you've got a growing population and rising crime and you're getting rid of policemen. Sheer madness. It is lunacy. But of course, they don't care about people. They don't care about the communities. They don't really care about Scotland. All the SNP care about is themselves and their own inevitable rise to power. They're trying to create a fascistic dictatorship where the police become the secret police that already is suspected in the pocket of the SNP, which explains how they've managed to get away with so much for so long. One of the worst things that was ever made as a decision with regards to policing was the unification of the whole of all the different police forces into a single police force. That way, you only have to control one chief constable, and you've got all the police in your pocket. As to 7 or 8 chief constables, where 1 or 2 of them may object to being used as a political tool. They may as well rename Police Scotland the Stasi, because that's as far as it's got. Anyway, fears have been raised. The government's plans to freeze Police Scotland's budget in cash terms until 2027 could reduce it to a quasi-military force, only used for the most serious incidents. In other words, if it's anything other than a major crime, you're on your own, chum. But this will lead to a lot of vigilantism. There'll be a lot more low-level crime. I mean, we're talking a lot more low-level crime. I mean, I don't know what it is generally, but already where I live, basically they're telling shopkeepers, if shoplifters are taking less than £200 worth of goods, the police aren't even going to come and investigate. They'll give you a crime number for your insurance, but that's it. That's as far as it goes. Well, having admitted that, they've just basically handed a license to shoplift. Who the hell is going to stop? And especially as shop workers are told, don't ever physically try to stop a shoplifter, because it's a matter of insurance, really, isn't it? If a shop worker, if I was, for example, if I was stealing something and I walked out and someone sort of grabbed me by the shoulder, I could turn around and punch them in the face. But the employer would be liable for the damages to the employee. So the employers say, no liability, don't stop them, because the liability is there. And so basically, I could walk into any shop, lift it, that's £199, great, I'm out the door with it. And what are they going to do? There's nothing they can do. It's madness, absolute madness. Anyway, no, the Scottish Tories blasted the fall in numbers as a disgrace. Shadow Justice Minister Sharon Dowie said the SNP's lack of funding for frontline policing is making Scotland's streets less safe. So it's little wonder that crime is on the rise, as we've said. Officers are stretched to breaking point as they've been forced to do more work with less resources for years now. And the thing is that it does affect the police. They get all stressed, they get all there, they can't do their job properly. And so when they're not doing their job properly, they go off on stress leave. Even fewer policemen on the streets. Crime rises again because nobody's stopping them. The message this cut sends to police officers and the public could not be clearer. Tackling crime is simply not a priority for this National Socialist coalition. There's Sharon Downey. The Daily Record reported that proposed cuts to the force would leave one traffic car patrolling Scotland every day between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. So you've got one traffic car in the whole of Scotland. So if you're going to do anything in Scotland, do it between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's the time. That's the time when you can cover your licence plate and drive at 120 miles an hour up the A9, and there'll be no one there to stop you. Marvellous, isn't it? There are plans to axe 42 traffic constables, leaving the entire road network shoddily manned, especially overnight. Concerns were raised that it would mean dead victims of car crashes would be left in the middle of the road because there's no staff to help out. Ms Dowie added, "It is shocking that the SNP budget cuts have left Police Scotland so starved of resources that a proposal this extreme is even on the table. One police car cannot possibly be expected to monitor the entire country's roads. This would be laughable if it were not so serious." Honestly, it's like Keystone Cops, isn't it? This plan must be abandoned or it will risk public safety on our roads. The SNP need to get a grip and deliver the funding, support and resources Police Scotland need to prevent this unacceptable scenario ever coming to pass. Not when they're pissing millions away on vanity projects or on independence or on all the other shit that they spend money on that isn't of a direct aid or assistance to the people. Scottish Lib Dem Justice spokesman Liam MacArthur said, SNP ministers used to parade police officer numbers as a badge of success. Those days are now long gone as numbers continue to fall. We know many officers feel unsupported, overwhelmed and stretched dangerously thin. The risk is that the service loses even more experienced and skilled officers, and the knock-on consequences for service and our communities. They are driving it into a lawless, Wild West kind of failed state situation. It will become a land of pure thuggery, of organised crime, of just mass criminality. And at that point, what do you do? Who do you blame? Well, you can point to one person, Sturgeon. She's the one who took complete control, who basically abandoned this. You can't blame Hamza Yousaf for this one. He's not clever enough for this. She's done this deliberately. A Scottish Government spokesman said, we've increased police funding year on year since 2016-17, investing more than 11 billion since the creation of Police Scotland in 2013. There are over 350 more officers than in 2007, and around 1,280 new recruits have joined Police Scotland in the last 18 months. Yes, but you're bringing in inexperienced recruits, but you're losing the top men with the experience that the top eight has all had enough. And that is why Scotland, the place to be if you want a career in crime. Thank you very much. I'm going to come up and we'll round this video off. So the SNP know. They have been told. And yet, armed with this information, they still choose to do it. They've made the conscious choice to freeze budgets and cut police numbers at a time of rising crime. Therefore, it is deliberate policy. There's no excuse. They can't say times are hard. Times are hard that they can't afford a policeman, but they're not so hard that they can't wank away millions a year on independence brochures. Which is more important? People or some vague ideological idea that will never come to fruition? Well, it seems that the SNP have made their mind up on that question. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and make sure you lock your doors at night. Bye.